Good afternoon. My name is Debbie Piescor, and I am a master teacher at a child's play school in Lincroft, right around the corner.
And I'm Gina Miele, a professor at Montclair State University.
To begin, I want you to all close your eyes and let us take you on a guided imagery tour of your childhoods and your neighborhoods. Imagine it's Saturday morning, the sun is up, your eyes are open, and you sit up straight out of bed and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this day has so much possibilities. I'm excited, I want to get out there. You may not have definitive plans yet, but you know that once you get out into your neighborhood, you're going to be a big part of the plan making, and you will be going on so many adventures. So you throw off your covers, you slip on some clothing, and you know these clothing, anything that you put on is meant to get dirty. You're allowed to get dirty. You run downstairs, maybe get a bite to eat, and if you're lucky, you are out the door before your parents even notice that you haven't run a brush through your hair. So out in the neighborhood, the world is yours to discover, to own, to invent, whether you do it on your own or with friends. And the expectation, and this is the most exciting part, is that you are not due home until the street lights come on. So what do you do with all that time? With whom do you choose to spend it? Did you get in any trouble? Were there any conflicts? Think about how these things, how these experiences shaped who you are as a person, build upon your autonomy, and increase the confidence that you have in all areas of your life.
Play is the work of childhood. It's what children naturally do. And if you think play is easy, we invite you to pull up a park bench one day and watch how hard the children work to sustain and steer the play so that every child is satisfied. When we were little, nobody questioned that play was a fundamental right of every child. It was assumed that children belonged outside in a world created and facilitated by them. They made the rules, they changed the rules, and they negotiated and compromised as they deemed necessary.
And these are skills that were developed right on the spot. It's not something that can be taught, but you did it because you knew that you didn't want the play to end. You wanted to sustain it for as long as possible. I can't even imagine my parents' reaction if I ran home, bursted open the door and said, so-and-so hasn't been fair to me. They would have looked at me like, what do you want me to do? Either go outside or stay home.
Right, but we had time as children to decompress away from adult structured activities. Fast forward 30 years and childhood has taken a dramatic turn.
What has happened in the last 30 plus years to change our attitudes on play so that it's diminishing from the lives of children? Well, first and foremost, it's technology. It's slowly crept up on us, and we are addicted to the instant gratification that we get by just taking our fingertips, pushing a button, and getting all information and knowledge about any topic that we could possibly desire. And with this rush of technology, we are rushing our own children to grow up faster than is deemed appropriate developmentally. And as the curriculum is being pushed down, we make the assumption that we have to push play farther and farther out of the lives of children so that we can squeeze in more time for structured activities and extensions to learning so that we can give our children an edge.
But we as educators see the effects of banishing free play from a child's life, and we see this from nursery school right up through university. As school days have become longer and time for play, both during and after school, has diminished, studies reveal an alarming increase in childhood obesity, depression, antisocial behavior, and anxiety and attention disorders.
Social constructivist Lev Vygotsky proved that children act way above their chronological age when engaged in play. And that's especially true when they are working with children who have more experience. The younger children are forced to really challenge their language and come up with words to make their points and ideas known to the older, more experienced children. And the experienced children are also challenged in the way of language as they have to adjust their words to allow the younger children to really know what the play is about and what their roles are to help continue it. And all children, no matter what age, have a big increase in their ability to self-regulate their behavior because, again, they want to sustain this play. They don't want it to end.
Lars Malaguzzi, founder of preschools in Reggio Emilia, Italy, suggested that children have more than 100 languages to use for expression and representation. Some children speak through construction materials. Others speak through creative arts materials, dramatic play, movement, music, writing, verbal expression, work with number and scientific principles. But what are we doing to nurture these languages in our children?
One of the ways we can reach that goal is to offer a variety of loose parts or found objects. These open-ended materials allow children to make their ideas become reality. And as their ideas change, the materials and the way that they use them can be transformed over and over and over again. And what is really great about this is it doesn't need to cost 1 penny. I am not above dumpster diving. I've done it plenty of times in the past, and I can see it clearly for my future.
I might be above it. Richard Louv coined the term nature deficit disorder. And he cautioned that if children aren't given ample opportunity to form a personal bond with the natural world, they will be far less likely to work to ensure its future health. Our children's physical, spiritual, and emotional well-being depends upon building forts in the woods, jumping in puddles, climbing trees, and using the natural world as their playground.
Children need a lot of opportunities to be outside in all types of weather in order to ensure sensory integration. When we deprive children of that, they can develop an intolerance to not only the changing temperatures, but to the textures that they approach as well. The Norwegians have an old adage that says, there is no such thing as bad weather, just poor clothing.
Remember that play is not just for the young child. What better way, for example, for a college student to truly understand poetry about nature than to visit a local reservation as a class and read that poetry aloud while observing and interacting with the natural world? Bev Boss, an author, educator, and advocate for play-based learning, famously said, if it hasn't been in the hand and in the body, it can't be in the brain. And what that means in my college language classroom is that memorizing and reproducing Italian vocabulary about childhood hobbies, sports, play, is far less effective than just going outside to play while speaking in the target language.
As we talk about with young children, offering young adults opportunities to dive into a learning experience with their entire beings, with all of their senses, sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, they are more likely to internalize knowledge and information than if somebody is up front lecturing. Storytelling is such a powerful tool to bring us back to our roots. When we give children of any age many opportunities to play with words, to play with stories, they authentically gain a deep understanding into such concepts as sentence and story structure, and they feel a strong desire to put as much detail into their stories as possible so that the listener or the readers will vividly picture and imagine what the author intended to say.
So a visit to a local exhibit on bookmaking led to inquiries about who we were, who we are, and who we hope to become. My students were able to tap into creative forms of expression that were once the staples of their childhood: collage, painting, drawing, origami, and sculpture, in order to narrate stories in Italian about their past, present, and future selves.
Upon the suggestion of Gina, we were fortunate to be able to bring our kindergarten, first grade combined class to this same exhibit. And they saw it as such a playful and joyful experience, and there was no doubt in their mind that they were already bookmakers. So upon the return to our school, many stories were created and a plethora of books were made and represented in these ways.
So even college students love scavenger hunts. But in order to be successful, students have to decode together clues in a different language and then travel all around campus before returning to my classroom triumphant. Students take on leadership roles, they play to one another's strengths, they form a communal bond, and they work together in order to win the scavenger hunt. Everybody wants to win. The best part of it, though, is that they're not just memorizing information for a test and then forgetting it the next day. Rather, they are pursuing knowledge because it gives them pleasure. In Italian, we say ridendo si impara, which means one learns by laughing. Let's revisit that question, Debbie, at the beginning.
Absolutely. Let's go back to the very beginning of our talk, when we imagined that we were back in our neighborhoods. Did you get into any trouble? I know I certainly did. Were there conflicts? There were in my area of the woods. What did you do to try to solve them? Did you try reaching solutions on your own, or did you do it collaboratively with the children in your neighborhood? Nevertheless, you didn't get it from an external adult force. You needed to do it then, right in the situation, so that you can sustain that play. And also, think about what that did for you, for your future self. It helped you to develop into critical and creative thinkers, which is necessary in a world, job, and a future that really has not even been invented yet.
It might be a challenge to get our children to turn off their screens and go outside to play, but it can be done. We as parents can assure our children that they will have their screen time after they've taken a moment to decompress through unstructured and child-directed play. It will take maximum encouragement and practice before play without adult support becomes a habit. But until that time, remember, it's okay to let your children be bored. Boredom is not a dirty word. Boredom is a portal that leads to curiosity, creativity, and imagination.
I am fortunate to work at a school where play is the driving force of our curriculum, but it doesn't need to be the responsibility of schools. You as parents can ensure that play stays central to your child's lives. Some of the ideas that we found worked with our own children, instead of organizing a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, I Play America, Bounce You, try setting it up in the middle of the woods. Just imagine what your child can do with all of the natural objects that they find in the woods. Try the beach. I mean, they spend hours playing and working, and they don't even realize that the time is passing by. Go on a bike ride. And going back to the technology aspect of it, and it being so prominent in our lives, mass media, you're getting news from all around now. So it seems, the perception is that bad things are happening all the time, close to home. So if you're still fearful and apprehensive about letting your children go, give them a walkie-talkie. Both of my kids knew growing up that if the walkie-talkie was out of range, they traveled too far.
Yours can be the home where all the neighborhood children come to play. Model and foster curiosity in your homes. Offer your children a wide array of open-ended materials and encourage them to tinker with items and ideas.
You're going to hear from a lot of young speakers tonight, and it is obvious to us that they still have unlimited, unstructured, non-adult driven opportunities to play. They already can imagine who they can be in this world and what they can accomplish. They are activists for change, and we are looking forward to hearing them as well.
If we can leave you with just one thought this afternoon, it will be this. Every day, and in many ways, let's let our children play. Thank you.